Talk about some state aid as well as federal aid as well. If you have any questions, like simple questions during the presentation, please feel free to ask me. You just raise your hand and ask me. And then at the end, we will have questions as well. So it'll be fine for you to ask me questions. The contents of the evening will entail understanding the important, how important it is to apply for college and some steps to apply, federal aid programs, state programs, scholarships, final recommendations, and some additional resources. We're going to start off talking about types and sources of assistance. Types and sources of financial aid. You have grants, that's free money, right? We know that's free money. Scholarships, that is free money as well. Meaning free when I say free, that you don't have to repay it, but we do have to do well in school. And we have loans, which we all know loans have to be repaid, and work study. Work study is a program that the federal government manages. And if a student receives Pell Grant, then there's a possibility that they could receive the federal work study program as well. And that is money that does not have to be repaid. We have sources of aid. Federal aid, which is an example of that, will be the Pell Grant, which is federal funds that the government sets aside for certain students if they're eligible for that money. You have state aid. The Maryland Higher Education Commission manages the state aid for the state of Maryland. And you have institutional aid. That is when you have colleges and universities that have scholarships and grants available to their students. And there's private money, which it could be if your church may have some money that they give you or something like that. And other would mean a family member possibly. Sometimes we may have to go to a family member, right? Or someone to give us some extra money to pay for college. Now, we're talking about how to apply for financial assistance. First, we're going to start off by researching. Have everyone started researching? Yes. Yes, I know everyone has started researching. Everyone is way ahead of me. Research all the eligibility requirements for any type of programs that you find available. If it's federal money, state money, learn about it. Scholarships know about the eligibility requirements. Deadlines. Do not miss deadlines. There are going to be deadlines for scholarships, grants, everything. Know those deadlines and do not miss them. So many people miss money because they didn't do something simple for the deadline. If there are any forms to be completed, which we know there's always forms to be completed, right? Complete all the forms completely. The first form that you need to think about completing is the free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA. We all heard of that one? Yes. That's our friend, right? So everyone's going to complete one. All right, the free application for federal student aid. That application needs to be completed every year, starting your child's senior year of high school until they complete college. Every year. It's from year to year. Okay? The application is on FAFSA.gov, FAFSA.gov. That's where you will find the application. There's also what they have, like a FAFSA forecaster, which you can do just some estimates on what you may be eligible for as well if you wanted to look at that at that time, and that will be located on the studentaid.ed.gov website. That's just a little extra information there. Now, for the FAFSA, complete all the items on the application. Do not leave anything blank, even if it's zero. Complete everything on that application. We also notice that it says free application for federal student aid. That means something, doesn't it? Something. Well, what it means is, one thing it means a number of things. Don't pay anyone to complete your application for you. It is free. So if you find someone that says, I can complete this application for you if you pay me X amount of dollars, are we going to pay them? No, it's free. We don't pay them. Now, to sign the application electronically, parents and students will need a personal identification number, which is the PIN. Parents and students will need a PIN. The instructions to apply for the PIN is on the FAFSA website as well. State aid deadline, March 1st. Please complete the FAFSA and have it submitted to the federal processor by March 1st each year. It's very important to get that completed and submitted to the federal processor by March 1st each year. As you complete the application, things you want to remember. Use a street address, not a P.O. box. That's very important. Use a street address, not a P.O. box. For state aid, you will need to include a Maryland institution on your application. You can have 6 colleges or universities listed on your FAFSA. Those institutions will receive your FAFSA. They will receive that information to start looking at financial aid for your child. If you do not have a Maryland school on there, then the Maryland institutions will not receive it. I'm not saying that you possibly couldn't go back and change it if something, but please include a Maryland institution on your FAFSA, okay? Very important. That's for state aid. The name, your child's name that is on that application, must be the same name that they legally have on their social security card, okay? Now, income section. Everything is complete. Zeros, if it's a zero, enter it. Everything must be entered there. They also have this IRS retrieval button on the application. That's something that's fairly new. Maybe 2 or 3 years, something like that. That's fairly new. But once you've completed your tax information, which will be required to complete the FAFSA, you can use that IRS retrieval button to retrieve your tax information. Now, the application becomes available every year after January 1st. But you do not have to have your taxes done, completed, to file. You can use an estimate like based on the previous year. You can do that, but we really, I would encourage you to try to, get it done, the application done as soon as possible, Once you have completed that application, submitted it, now you receive the student aid report, known as a SAR. Once that SAR comes to you, it will come to the email address that was entered on the FAFSA application. Check the SAR for accuracy. If it is accurate, you're fine. Nothing else needs to happen. If there's some changes that need to be made, make those changes and resubmit the SAR. Now, once you have resubmitted it, and if it's after March the 15th, you will need to send the information to the state of Maryland for state aid. That's the Maryland Higher Education Commission. If it's after March the 15th. If it's before March the 15th, then we will receive that information. Okay? The SAR will also include the expected family contribution, the EFC, expected family contribution. It kind of says what it means, expected family contribution. So it's very self-explanatory there. That number is calculated by the federal government. That is a formula that's used to calculate the expected family contribution by the federal government. The colleges and universities are not calculating that number. That number is used for need-based aid mostly. And you will see that it says it's a number used to determine your eligibility for federal student aid based on the information from your FAFSA, because the federal government is calculating that number based on the FAFSA. The EFC, combined with your college cost of attendance, which we'll go into that in just a moment, determines your eligibility for a federal Pell Grant. And it could be other need-based grants as well. Everyone with me? Okay. Cost of attendance. You have tuition and fees, room and board, books and supplies, transportation, and personal expenses. Colleges and universities are required to share that information with you. The institutions that your child or children select, you want to look at the cost of attendance. It's going to be an estimation because you really don't know the exact amount of cost for transportation, right? And you really don't know the exact amount for personal expenses, but they kind of give you an idea. You need to do some projections on it, and that'll give you an idea of the cost of attendance. Basically helping you come up with maybe how much money we're going to need. That's a very important one. Simple calculation. Cost of attendance minus EFC minus a Pell Grant, if your child is eligible for a Pell Grant, equals the financial need. If we have a cost of attendance at $10,500, expected family contribution at $2,500, and a Pell Grant award at $1,000, a student will be left with a $7,000 need. So that $7,000 need is where we would need to start trying to find ways to pay it down. Some of it could possibly be state aid, right? But that need is what we need to start looking at to pay down. Now, state aid. The Maryland College Aid Processing System, MDCAPS. That is the state of Maryland's system. That's their financial aid system. Students will need a login profile for this system. Now, once students create that login profile, they will receive an email to the email that they've used, and it will be an activation link. Once that activation link is activated, the students now have that account and they can log on and see different things there. That is for Maryland State Aid. Now, your child can create that account right now. They can go in and do it now. It's an account that you can create at any time. It's an account that I would encourage you to have your children to do now. Just to touch it and feel it. If you're thinking maybe they're going to go to a Maryland school, which we hope they will go to a Maryland school. But that's something that I would encourage you to get them to do now. Once everything is created, this is the MDCAP Student Portal main menu. You see a number of things here. They have a to-do list. Check your application status, your awards, your award payment. This information helps you keep up with what's happening with your finances for the state. Okay? Important. The state will communicate through email mostly, the majority of the time. It's very important to get in the habit of checking email all the time. Even the federal government, you heard me a few minutes say about the SARS going to come to your email account. Get in the habit of checking email. Because believe it or not, just a month ago I had someone say to me when I was at another event, I missed my money. Why do you all think she missed the money? She didn't check her email. She didn't check her email. I was like, wow. She did not check her email, so she missed the money. It's very important to check the email. This is just a snapshot here of what the page will look like when the students go onto that page. Screenshot or snapshot there. Now, major question. I always hear this question. How much aid can I get? Is it different for everyone?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it's different. There's no specific answer. It's different for everyone. Every household is different. So that's a different answer. Now, federal Pell Grants is a federal aid program. But these are some other grants. We hear so much, these are other programs. We hear a lot about the federal Pell Grants. But these are other state aid programs. Now, there are more programs than this. But they're loan programs, which I chose not to talk about. Because tonight we're talking about ways to finance, and we could possibly get some free money, right?
That's right.
That's right. That's right. We're talking about free money. Yeah. So I decided to leave that one off. So you have the federal Pell Grant, the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, Teachers Education Assistance for College and Higher Ed. You have the Federal Work Study, which I touched on earlier, as well as some military benefits there also. But focus on the free money first. Focus on that money first, and then start looking at loans. And when you start looking at loans, only take what you need. Try to look at all the free money first, and then look at loans for what you need. There's a lot of money there. And these are federal aid programs to look at. State programs. State of Maryland. Now, I saw you all have this. You all have the 411 publication from the Maryland Higher Education Commission, right? Now, this information is here. In this publication, it lists the different programs that we have. And just gives you basic general information about all of them. But you also have our website on the back, where there's a lot of information on the website. It just goes into so much detail. We have need-based. You have the Howard P. Rollins, the Educational Assistance Grant, and you have the Guaranteed Access Grant, and then you have the Senatorial and Delegate Scholarships as well. The Howard P. Rollins Educational Assistance Grant is new and renewal, students must file the FAFSA by March the 1st each year. This tied to the FAFSA. And a student must demonstrate a financial need for this one. Student must be enrolled full-time. Full-time. They can be 2-year or 4-year also. And just remember, for state aid, I think we know this. We need to be state residents, right? Pretty simple. State residents. And then we have our Guaranteed Access Grant. Now this is very important. Guaranteed Access Grant. Up to $15,900 annually. Apply as a high school senior. Once out of high school, you cannot apply. What does that mean? So when are you going to apply?
When you're a senior.
When you're a senior in high school. That's very important. Very important. And students need to be enrolled. Just some basic information there. You have a lot of the information here, but it's also on our website. We have our senatorial and delegate scholarships. Students will be high school seniors, undergraduate students, graduate students, career or technical students. And these funds can be used for full-time or part-time enrollment. Senatorial and delegate scholarships. Someone said to me not long ago at another event, I heard a parent say to a parent, and we were talking, do not waste your time. You may not even get but $300. Do you feel that way?
$300.
$300 some money to me.
Pay for books.
It'll pay for something.
April.
And then